Hey guys, it's Jessica here again. So today I am going to show you how I redid our kitchen countertops and made them just absolutely awesome. It's like a complete transformation. I have been here for a couple of years and they are supposed to be like a granite looking top. They're actually Formica, but they're very dark, very busy. So even when you would clean the countertops, it still looks like it had way too much going on. And honestly, I was a little bit afraid to do anything to them because, you know, once you mess up a surface like that, it would be really hard to undo it. So I did some research and I found a really great way to redo them. And with a little bit of acrylic magic mixed in there, making them look like marble, I cannot believe how incredible they came out. So I actually started with the bar top. And I wasn't really sure if I was going to film it or not because I really kind of wanted to see how it was going to go first. And after I saw how incredible that surface came out, I decided to go ahead and make a video out of it and show you guys the remainder of the project. So I'm really happy for you guys to see this. It's such an incredible transformation. I do explain the products as we go so that you guys can redo this look if you'd like. And of course, as usual, you can do any kind of color or style. What I went with was a very pure white look, and I added in some grainy kind of silver tones to make the veins of the marble. And then I used a water-based polyurethane. And it does take a lot of patience. It took a lot of coats because I was looking for a very glossy finish. But that's also what's really nice about it is you'll see as you go, you can control how glossy you want that surface to end up. And of course, there's also variations in if you want satin or gloss when you do actually select your polyurethane. So this is kind of a project I took on because we have been kind of pent up in the house more. And so I figured I would go ahead and try to make something productive out of that. And so you guys can come along for the ride and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so this is the bar top that I've done so far. And as you can see, it is coming out really awesome. I still have a couple clear coats that I want to do on it. And I added these little sparkles, which I'm not really sure how well you can see it in the video. I'll show you in a second. Let me walk you over. This is actually what it started off as. So you can see it's a Formica countertop. It's meant to look like granite, and I just think it's way too busy, and in this kitchen, it's just way too dark. So this is the after, and the kitchen's kind of upside down right now. You can see we had to like stack all the appliances while I'm doing this project. It does take a little bit of time to wait for the clear coats to dry in between, but I finally got it to a point where you can actually come in here in the evening and see the reflection of the outlet on the counter. So it's got a really nice gloss coat, and here's where it kind of starts. So I stopped at this point so I could go ahead and make this video because I wanted to share this with you guys. So I'll start from here where you guys can see the process. So what I'm putting on it right now is just a primer. Okay, so I flipped the camera so I can talk to you guys this way. I'm not a huge fan of sanding. I've made a couple little comments in the videos that I've done, but it really is super important and it makes a huge difference in the result and also the longevity of whatever project. So especially in this case where I'm doing countertops, I don't want to finish everything and then put something on the counter and have everything just start tearing up, because that's what will happen if the primer and the paint and the polyurethane coat are not properly adhered to the counter. So I did go ahead and do the sanding. Now I'm gonna go ahead and switch over and I'll show you guys the whole process. And if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I'm gonna try to go ahead and explain what I'm using a little better in this video than others because this is a house project. It's not just a small art project. So hope you guys hang in and enjoy. And let's go ahead and finish up this kitchen. Okay guys, so this is the primer that I'm actually using. It's supposed to be applied with or without sanding. I did go ahead and use a sander just to make sure that the coat is going to adhere properly. So I'm going to go ahead and do the roller and cut in the sides with a paintbrush. Okay, so I went ahead and I applied the first coat of primer, and as you can see, it doesn't look so great. So don't freak out because it's going to start off like this and probably be like this until at least about 3 coats in. After I sand, I take a paper towel with a little bit of moisture on it, and I go ahead and I wipe that entire surface. This is going to remove any of the debris and dust that we've created from the sanding process. Then just give it about 10 minutes to make sure that surface is completely dry, and then we can go ahead and start the next step. So now this is coat 2, and as you can see, it's already going to make a huge difference on the counter. That streakiness is going to start to go away, and it's going to start to become more of that pure white. Okay, so now I've done 3 coats on it, and you can see that there is a huge difference from before. We don't have any more of the streaky lines. We can't see the granite color through that primer anymore. And now we're going to do the very scary part of peeling up the tape. If this is done right, there won't be a disaster, but if not, it can bring the other paint with it. So let's see what we got here. I'm pulling it a little bit away from the paint to the right so that it's less likely to peel any of that up. And so far, so good. We have some nice clean lines. It can always be touched up later if there's a problem, and also take into account that we will be recaulking around the sink. Very nerve-wracking. Voila. Okay guys, so welcome to day 2 of the kitchen counter redo project. We did make a lot of progress yesterday. We got 3 coats put on, and I was able to remove the tape, avoiding any disaster or chipping. So it looks like we have a really good clean surface, and now on to the really fun, exciting part of sanding. Yay! So I'm going to go ahead and do that so that I can get to the detailing part where we're going to really pull it all together and make it look like it's a great marble finish, and then we'll move on to the water-based polyurethane coat, and that's the one that's going to take some time to do. So I'm going to go and do the sanding so that we can get to the details, and then we can pull it all together and see how beautiful the counters are going to come out. Now that we're at the next step, what I'm going to do in my very dirty palette here is go ahead and mix a few paints. So what I would like to do, and what I've been using, is a little bit of the black. Right now I'm using acrylics, and I'm going to mix it with a little bit of the silver acrylic paint, and I put a little bit of the light gray on the side. You'll see later when I do the blending the purpose of that. So here's kind of the ratio of what I did. You can see here that I have mostly a dark gray, added a little bit of the light gray, and I'm going to add a little bit of the black just to kind of darken that. We'll get a little bit of a sheen in there because of the metallic. I have this light color here for blending and a little bit of water, so that way when I need to blend, I can kind of mix it all together as I go, and it's going to help a lot when I need to do the parts in between. So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing the veiny pattern of the countertop. Okay, so I just wanted to say really quick before we get started, this is a little bit scary to do at first, and I find that the more I do it, I feel a little bit more comfortable and kind of feel like an expert at the end of it. One of the tricks you'll see me doing is I'm gonna kind of be twisting the brush and applying more pressure when I start the detail, the vein, I guess, in the detail, and I'm gonna lighten up my pressure as I go. That's gonna allow me to get that fine point at the end of each one of the little streaks that I'm making. You're also gonna see that on one end, I'm gonna start coming in from one direction, and then you'll see me coming down from another direction, and that's intentional because in a true marble top, you do have that variation in the grain. So don't be freaked out when you first start doing this. It is a little bit scary. I actually did a test piece before I started this entire project. So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing it, and I hope you guys get a really good idea of what a beautiful transformation you can create in your kitchen. And honestly, this has been so simple. I am kind of upset with myself for not doing this sooner because it's as simple as white paint, this polyurethane coat, and some of my acrylics that I've already had lying around the house. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and start adding on this really cool detail and finishing up this last countertop. the water-based polyurethane that I've been using. So this is the one that I've been using for this project. It says crystal clear gloss. Now, what I've noticed, because I've done a few tops with this, is that you do have to be careful and put on a thin coat, or it does tend to dry a little bit with a yellowish tint. And this is just a little trick that I'm using. I have this little container, as you can see. This roller has a very almost fur-like roller to it, which is giving me a nicer finish than the roller I had before. And I'm keeping my paintbrush in here as well. Now I'm putting this plastic bag on it each day, since I'm using these products day after day. Hey guys, okay, so we are officially at day 3 of our kitchen renovation, and now I am going to apply coat 2 of the water-based polyurethane finish. Of course, I'm going to sand it first, and I'll go ahead and show you that process now. Alright everyone, so I'm officially welcoming you to day 5 of our kitchen renovation project. So I did skip day 4, I had some other stuff to do. What I'm going to go ahead today and do is finish up the last couple of coats, or at least I'm hoping it's going to be the last couple of coats. So far I've put on about 4 or 5 coats, so it's starting to get that nice glossy sheen to it, but it's not quite there yet. It's not quite matching the other countertop. So I'm going to make sure I put at least 2 coats on today. I don't want to put on too many because I really wanted to have an opportunity to dry thoroughly in between each. It prevents that yellowing that I noticed on one of the first counters that I had tried to do as kind of a test run. So I'm going to give it a chance to really dry completely, sand it down really well again in between each coat. And hopefully the last 2 today will be the last 2, and then we have to start the process of waiting about 72 hours before we can really put anything on the countertop, because if we put anything on the countertop too soon, what will happen is it kind of starts to stick to the counter and it can end up ruining the finish that we took so long to put together. So we can get started and get those last couple coats put on, and hopefully this will be the end of this kitchen reno project, and then we can start enjoying it. So before I start this next coat, I wanted to give you guys a quick view of what the counter looks like right now. You can actually see what I was telling you about in an earlier video, where you see the reflection now of the outlet and the wire above the countertop, and that's telling me that it is starting to get that really nice glossy finish sheen that I'm going for. So we have a little more to keep doing, but we're getting very, very close now at this point. And I have to say, I absolutely love the way that it's turning out. You can see here where I've already been able to start putting some of the items back on the counter from what I did before. I had started this portion of the video, and I just think it looks so incredible and really just a complete difference from what we had started with. So we're going to go ahead and get started now and hopefully wrap this up today. Okay, so this will be sanding, probably take 5, and my sandpaper is not looking so great, but I'm pretty sure it's going to make it through to the end of the project, so we're good. Wiping it down for the last time, fingers crossed. guys, so the kitchen is officially finished. I just put the last bit of caulking around the sink, and now I'm going to give you the big reveal. So here's what it looks like when you step back away from the kitchen, and I am just so pleased with how everything came together. Here's the bar top that I showed you before, and now I'm going to walk you into the kitchen. And as you can see, I was able to put everything back in its place, and now it looks like one cohesive spot again. Here's the right side, and here's the part that I showed you guys step by step. So you can see that nice glossy reflection on the countertop now, everything in its place. We did that caulking, very thin strip around the sink. And now everything just looks so incredible. I can't believe how easy this project was. It does require some patience for sure to do those coats and wait in between. And I actually redid the grout as well. If you notice in the earlier videos, it just looked so nice in here that I had to brighten it up. So I went ahead and did that also. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope that you've learned how simple and easy this process can be and really truly make a beautiful and total transformation in your space. And keep in mind, as always, this can be applied to other rooms of the house and other applications. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.